Hi everybody, Jeremy here from Video Studio, and today I'd like to share with you how to give more texture to your background in Davinci Resolve. So let's check it out. Alright, so in Davinci Resolve right now on the edit page, and I'm gonna start by bringing here a title in my timeline. I'm gonna use one of our sample by searching urban, and here I'm just gonna drag the urban modern title on track number 3. This is a free sample that you can download by clicking the link in the description below, and we'll send it to you. Right now the title is nice and all, but we'd like to just add a bit more texture to the background to make it a bit more interesting. For the first texture, we're gonna use the noise gradient. So we're gonna go over to Effect, Generator, and here noise gradient. We can just take it and drag it under our title. Then we can just select the noise gradient, go over to Generator, and here select version 6. Now we can bring the detail up to the maximum, the contrast up to the maximum, here the seed threads to the maximum as well, change the angle to 90 degrees, and then just hit discontinuous. And now we're back to a black background, but wait a second now, if we're adjusting the brightness, we're having the effect that is starting to pop up. Consider the brightness slider to a strength effect, so -1 will be the maximum and then 0 will be the minimum. So just don't go too high. I will say generally being subtle with this works pretty well. So here I'm gonna go with -0.25, and now let's play it. Perfect, that's our first texture effect. Now let's move on to the second one. The second texture effect is going to be using grain in Fusion. So here, as you can see in the timeline, we still have our title. We can then just now move over to Fusion. And here I'm just going to unlink my title from my media out. I'm going to bring a new background here and then link the output of my title to that background and then link the output of the merge to the media out. Now I'm just going to move the background to make some space, hit Shift Space on my keyboard, and we're going to search for grain and bring the grain here in between the background and the merge. Quick disclaimer though, I think that might only be available for the studio version of Davinci Resolve. If that's not available in the free version, you can just search on YouTube for grain and use a grain video instead. Right now I'm just going to leave the grain by default, but here you can make some adjustment to the power of that grain, to the softness, to the size, etc. to just really get the result that you want. However, the modification that I'm going to do is here going to background, select my color, and I'm just going to reduce the black so it's more like of a faded gray black rather than just a pure black. In my opinion, a faded black tends to look better on most displays. So here I'm just going to select that, and we can go back to the edit page, and now let's play it. It's very subtle, but again, it just helps to give that texture. Now the third one gonna be a static one. We're gonna use the texture background. So you can go over to Effect, Generator, and here bring the texture background in your timeline. Here select the texture background and go over to version number 5. Now we can go over to Gradient, and here instead of green, we're gonna swap that for white. And then here we're gonna play with the start and end position to get the line closer or further from each other, depending on what you try to achieve. Here, I'm just gonna try to reduce a bit the start X, or like raise it until I get here like a spacing between the line that I like. So I think like this is fine. Then I'm gonna adjust the Y. So here it's just gonna switch the line position. I'm just gonna make them diagonally instead of vertically. So like this, I think it's fine as well. And I think I'm pretty happy with that result. And now we can go over to setting, and here we're just going to reduce the opacity to 10%. Here we go, that's a static texture, but it really helped to make the background more interesting. Now for the fourth one, we're going to reuse the same texture background as the third one. So we're going to go back to the texture background, but here we're going to just bring the opacity back to 100, and we're going to switch to color dodge. And then here we're going to go back to generator, and in control, we're just going to change the detail to 0.4. Contrast to 0.6, leave the brightness at 0, scale at 2, then sit at 0.2, and then the seed rate at 0.05. And already if we play it, we get a nice background that is quite interesting, but it's a bit too prominent. It's like an active animated background. I want something that is a bit more discrete, so to do that, we're gonna go over to texture background, go back to gradient, and then here we're just going to play again with the start and end X and Y position to get something more subtle. So here I'm just going to move things around a little bit like that. And here we go. We got a pattern now that I like. Here I'll just play with different value until I get a pattern that I like. As you can see, when you just modify it, you will just get a different kind of result. And you can just play with each of those parameters until you get something that you like. And that's pretty much it. I hope this video was helpful. Please let me know in the comment what kind of video you would like to see next. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you in the next one. Bye! Speed up your workflow and create better videos using the pack available on our website, including titles, transition, and templates, but only for Davinci Resolve. Get started today by downloading our free starter pack containing a compilation of 20 titles curated from our library. Link in the description below or at videodjstudio.com.